Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Sunday Morning Dooger. How are we all doing? What is that? What is what? Oh. No, we're messing around with tape tools. I see. There was nothing. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. Oh, it's very grainy, isn't it? It's hard to get the light balance right because these lights still don't work. But whatever. As long as you can see me and hear me, it's fine. It's fine. We'll work with it. Sam and I prepped up a bunch of food yesterday. I was very proud of us. We've been talking about doing this for weeks. The overlap of time when we're awake at the same time is kind of small. Saturdays, we always spend together. Saturdays are always a family day, right? So the evenings on Saturdays, Sam and I spend together. And typically it's what you would expect. We sit on the couch, cuddled up with our dog, and we watch TV. And I had said to him, you tell me, you give me a thing that you would like for us to prep up. I will also choose a thing. So it'll be one thing Sam chooses, one thing I choose. And then we'll also make a bunch of like coffee concentrate, right? And that's what we'll do tonight, right? And I will get all of the supplies so that if we don't make it, we're actually stupid. It'll be a weird, wasteful thing if we don't make the thing, right? So at the same time, we are moving my kid into her new room. We had a whole back and forth debate over whether she should sleep in her old room or in the new room. Sam thought that she was gonna have a really hard time sleeping in the new room. I was like, I think we should just plop her in there, right? Like, if we wait till tonight, Sunday night, right? Then it's a school night. Wouldn't it be better to see if she can sleep okay in that room when it's not a school night? So we did a movie night, which consisted of watching the first 2 episodes of Traitors. So not actually a movie night. We watched the first 2 episodes of Celebrity Traitors until Clark was exhausted, like so sleepy. And then plopped her in her new room. And that kid, the audio isn't in sync. I know why. We all know why, don't we? Hold on, I'll fix it. Boop. How's that? Should be better. Anyway, so we plopped her in there. She slept through the night. She crushed it. So that was great. But more importantly, we waited until she was exhausted to put her to bed. So we're curled up on the couch. We're watching it. It's like 8:30, which might not seem very late, but if like she's so tired. Plop her into bed. And then Sam and I sit back down on the couch and we're like, let's watch a movie. So we watched Dust Bunny, which was just okay. I was really surprised. After the movie was done, I was like, Sam, tell me what you think the Rotten Tomatoes is on this movie. And I'm going to look it up and we're going to see how close you get. Sam thought that it was going to be like a 72 for viewers, not for reviewers. Sam thought it was going to be like a 72%, but it was like mid 80s for reviewers and for viewers. We were a little surprised. We just thought it was okay. Brian Fuller loves an aesthetic, and he really chose an aesthetic and like went for it. But like the story of the movie was just all right, if that makes sense. Visually, great. Visually, mostly great. I don't know. I was surprised that it had such high scores. So if you're the sort of person that like rents videos inside of a system or something, I would say wait until it's free somewhere to watch. Anyways, we watched the movie, and by then it's midnight. And Sam and I are looking at each other, and I was like, we have to get up and cook. We have to. We have to. We had a whole conversation about it. We have to. I bought the shit. It's in the fridge. We have to. So we did. Are you proud of us? We did. We did it. We got up. We made 12 burritos. Sam was like, I just want something. I want like a high protein burrito thing that I can just eat when I'm hungry. Fantastic. So we made a shit ton of those. We made a huge salad that'll like last for a while because it doesn't have like lettuce in it. It's, you know, like hard, like dense stuff. And then made coffee concentrate. And I'm making soup today. I'm so proud of us. We did it. We were like, we should do this every week. And I know, looking forward, looking into the future, I know that next Saturday, it's going to be a little easier, but not by much. It's going to be a little bit easier because we'll remember how nice it was, right? Future Saturday Sam and Doogs are going to be like, remember how great it was last Saturday when we sacked up and cooked? It'll make it easier. It will, but not by a ton. Not by a ton. Because we'll still be sleepy babies. Because we'll still be like, so maybe we'll be smart enough to not do it at midnight. But no promises. No promises for future me. You're giving future Dukes a lot of credit. I thought you hated that guy. I do. I have zero respect for future Dukes. That's probably a huge part of my problem. I fuck that guy over all the time. Yeah, that's the thing, right? Is midnight is actually prime time for Sam. Sam is poised and ready to go around midnight. You know, he's activated. I should be in bed. So, it does make it harder. But on the plus side, there is no plus side. We just shouldn't wait until midnight. I think there's a mid zone there. I think if we did it around like 9 o'clock, I think that would be a good crossover point for us where Sam's pretty awake. He's ready. He's ready to go. And I have not started my shutdown procedure yet. So it's midnight for me and I should be asleep, but kids. Yeah, 100%. I made creamer, which is weird because neither of us typically use creamer in our coffee. But I was like, if I'm making a cold brew concentrate, which the idea behind that, right, is that you dilute it with cold or hot water. Cold brew tends to be less acidic. It's like easier on your tummy. So I was like, I'm just gonna make like a really concentrated cold brew. And then if it's cold, you can just add kettle water the same way that you would with instant coffee, right? But then I was like, there's so many people that I've watched making a bunch of different types of creamer, which is so American. And I was like, I kind of want to make a creamer. So while the burritos were cooking, I started just mixing a bunch of shit together. And Sam was like, what are you doing? But I'm drinking it right now. And TMI, I had an incredible poop earlier. Like, maybe I should be drinking creamer sometimes. Maybe I should weaponize the lactose intolerance against myself, you know? So, I think there's a misconception. So, like, in England, I don't think it's always been this way, but in England, if you were to add a dairy of some kind to coffee, it would be milk. That is not typically the case in America. So like when we say coffee creamer or creamer, that's not just another word for milk. It's cream, right? So like the most basic form of coffee creamer is like light cream. A lot of the ones that I see people making at home are like a condensed milk and then mixed with like skim milk or something, and then a flavor if you want flavor in it. So that's what I did, because I was like, you know what? If I'm gonna be putting something decadent in my coffee, it might as well be sweetened condensed milk. So yeah, I did like half a can of sweetened condensed milk and then mixed it with skim milk until it felt like it was the right consistency, and then I put vanilla in. And it's pretty good. And I pooped. If you're having trouble pooping, I don't know. Thank you. Thank you very much. I was going to expand on it, and I feel like that's not necessary. You don't need to know more. You don't need to know more poop stuff. Just, you know. Good start to the day, everybody. Cheers. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm making oh gosh, I can't even remember what it's called. It's a Scottish soup, apparently. It's like a Scottish lentil soup. But the first part, normally I would just try and like skip this. But I was like, we're already prepping food, who gives a shit? The first part of it is that you're supposed to like boil a ham hock in water for like hours. And again, originally I was like, I'm not fucking doing that. But then I was like, wait a minute, hold on. What if I put the ham hock and water in the slow cooker and just put it on low and just leave it until I'm ready to add everything else for the soup? And it's worked. And it's worked. And it smells great. So we'll see how that goes. Because, man, good stock makes such a huge difference. So if it's already 1 a.m. and you're making a bunch of shit, you might as well just put some stock stuff in the slow cooker, you know? My kid's back on her, like, cutting up all of her old clothes bullshit, which I love. I love unless she regrets it, which has happened a couple of times. My kid loves to take clothes that she's not, like, super into anymore and then just start cutting it. And sometimes it turns into a thing where she's like, I love this. I'm going to wear this every day. And sometimes she cuts it and then immediately starts sobbing because she regrets it. So I feel like I have to, it's a tightrope, because you want to be like, clearly you have an interest in being creative in this way. I want to encourage that. But also I feel like it's part of my job to remind you that sometimes that you can't take it back, right? The second you've cut that shirt, it's cut. It's cut forever. Like I could re-sew it, but it won't ever be the same, you know? So she has so few long sleeve shirts, and she was like, I want an outfit that's all purple today. I said, awesome, sounds good. And then she has like 2 purple shirts. One of them is long sleeved, one of the only long sleeve shirts she has. And she was like, I want one arm to be long and one arm to be short. I was like, okay, I'm going to remind you that you don't have very many long sleeve shirts. So once you cut that arm off, it's gone forever. And she was like, if you're not going to help me, I'm going to do it myself. I was like, that's fine. I'm just letting you know. So she goes downstairs, makes a big cut in the shoulder, and then comes back up to me and is like, so I've changed my mind. It's like, bro, you already started cutting. So she's adjusted into, she wants there to be like peekaboo shoulders, but for the sleeves to still be there. I was like, I think that that's a good idea. I can't help you with that right now. I'm literally streaming, but I think that's a good midway. You know, it's a good mid-ground. Sure. I'm just glad she didn't commit and just go, whoosh. Is the dead pixel back? No, because it's a different camera. I'd be worried that the cuts would continue to tear down. Yeah, it depends on the fabric. Some fabrics are fine. This is like a very synthetic shirt. It doesn't want to tear. It doesn't want to. It's really resistant. So I'm not that concerned about it. But when she's done this in the past with things that are more like natural fibers, yeah, we've done a hem to try and keep it from fraying. Did you guys know there's a third Pathologic game? I had no idea they made a third one. It came out a few days ago, apparently. Those games are buck wild. They are so weird. They are so weird. And I was like, a new one. Maybe a new one would be not necessarily less confusing, but like easier to play. Because I think this one doesn't have survival elements and things in it. But looking at the reviews, The reviews are a lot of people like, I have no idea what the fuck I just played. I got a terrible ending. 10 out of 10, you know, like sounds like a pathologic game. So apparently it's more detective-y and less survival-y. There's some really good videos that go in depth about what the pathologic games are about. So if you're interested in playing it, I might rewatch one of those because I'm so curious. These games are notorious for being confusing, weird shit. That was a random segue. It's because something off to this side in my peripheral kept flashing and I was like, what the fuck is that? And it's the page for Pathologic 3 because I was staring at it going, do I buy Pathologic 3? Do I buy it? That's why. Yeah. So it's sounding like it's probably gonna, we're not gonna be able to do all of chapter 4 of Deltarune in one go. I think it's gonna take 2 days. That was very bold of me to think we could do that. I think it's gonna take 2 days, which is fine. So Monday, Tuesday, we'll do Pathologic, yeah. Not Pathologic, Jesus Christ. Monday, Tuesday, we'll do Deltarune. And then maybe we'll do Pathologic, who knows? We're not big shots yet, no. Not yet. But we've also got to go back to Hades. How do I hold all these grapes? I have a couple YouTubers like that. Or if I'm just like, I just want something on that I've seen many times. But I just want it on, you know? H-Bomber Guy is definitely one of those. Jenny Nicholson is one of those. Big Joel. Yeah, there's definitely a little mental list for me of like, if I just want something on. Are you gonna play Hytale? Not yet. Not yet. Eventuala? Yeah, I'd love to. It's weirding me out how many people are like, this game is incroyable. Like, that's really weirding me out. It was to the point where I thought that maybe because there were so many posts about it that were like, wow, move over Minecraft. This is what I wanted Cube World to be, you know? There were just so many posts like that that I was like, are these ads? It was weird. It was weird. It was weird for me. So I think I need some space with it, you know? But that's kind of, what am I trying to say? The last couple of games that I've done that with were games that I was excited about playing and then decided that I wanted to wait, which is Deltarune and Hades 2. Both games. I decided I didn't want to play right away. And I'm glad I didn't. So, I don't think I've ever had a bad experience just waiting, just giving myself some breathing room, you know? I did worry about Deltarune. I thought maybe with Deltarune that was the wrong call because my experience with Undertale was playing it the second it came out. This was the opposite. But, yeah. It's hard to tell if it's grassroots or AstroTurf. I love that. That's what a good quote. Yeah, we had a mod meeting right before this, and we were talking about how good chat's been during Deltarune. Very, very little wrist slapping. Hope you're doing well. I still remember your Undertale playthrough. It's one of my favorites. Thank you. What would you consider as a fried potato dish? Are you asking because you're going to a potluck and everybody has to bring a fried potato dish and you want to be unique? Yeah, no spoils. I just finished chapter 3. Yes. There you go. Yeah, we finished chapter 3. I have not started chapter 4. And to answer the person's question who was asking if the music is good, music's great. Hell of a place to take a break. I agree. No spoils. I agree. That's why I was mad that the next day was Friday. Because I was like, I want to just keep playing so bad. But if we try to play any of this on Friday, I'm going to barely scratch the surface. It's like not worth it. So. Called out but didn't get an answer. I didn't have an answer, but a bunch of people in chat are answering, so I didn't feel like it was necessary. Any advice for a first-time parent? My wife and I are expecting our first in August. An August baby. Congratulations. I was born in August. That's why I said that. Any advice for a first-time parent? I talk about this a lot. This isn't really advice, but you are going to get a lot of people saying to you, when you complain about something or when you talk about something being really hard, you are gonna like, oh my gosh, she's just not sleeping, or, you know, my baby, they're not sleeping, so we're not sleeping, you know, I'm just exhausted, I'm crying all the time, like, it's crazy, you know. It's not all bad. It isn't, but you will be exhausted. Right? It's really rare to have a situation with a newborn where you're not just tired all the time. And you're going to get a bunch of people who are going to be like, but you're going to blink and this stage will be done. You're going to blink, like these first few months, they're going to just fly by and you'll be in a whole new stage and you won't be exhausted anymore and it'll be fine. That's true, but it does not help in the moment. I will never forget someone being like, right, but like once you hit like month 4, the sleeping gets so much better. And I remember sitting there being like, that's 4 months away. A lot of people in a well-meaning way are going to say, yeah, this thing that you're struggling with, I know it's hard, but you're gonna blink and it'll be done. And that's true, but it's not helpful. it's not helpful. You're gonna feel yourself get frustrated with that. Try not to be, because it's what sucks is it's true. It's true. But you don't appreciate it until you're on the other end, and then you're like, oh, wow. Oh, we're done with that. That's, cool. But in the moment, it's so hard. Yeah, every stage is gonna have a bunch of stuff that's awesome and a bunch of stuff that's hard. And that has continued to be true. My kid's almost 8. It's continued to be true. There's new hard stuff and new awesome stuff. And it's wonderful, and I love all of it. But yeah, just remember that, I think you said that you're first-time parents. Remember that you are learning to be a parent at the same time that they are learning to be a little human. Give yourself grace, give yourself space to learn. Forgive yourself in those moments where you're like, I'm the worst, Because it's a learning process for everyone. Everyone involved is learning at the same time. So, you got this. You're gonna do great. Yes, that's another good thing. Don't let other parents pressure you when they say, my child was doing X by now. Yeah. Kids grow at completely different rates. My kid talked super early on, but could not figure out shapes to save her life. And another kid that I was interacting with a lot figured out shapes so early on. And I was like, oh my God. Oh no. Like worrying about it. I didn't need to worry about it. It was something that she grasped later. She put all of her stats into talking. That's all that she wanted to learn how to do. So she didn't walk right away. She didn't, figure out like spatial stuff right away, but they just do things at different rates. Yeah, she's a little yapper. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she just kept hearing me yap all the time and was like, I gotta figure out how to do that. My son was stubborn about talking, but my daughter pretty much started talking as soon as she could and never stopped. Yeah, that's where we're at too. And I'm, it's nice. Yeah. It's nice now that we've like hit the stride of the age that she's at right now. She can really clearly express what things she's interested in. With babies, it's interesting because you kind of like glean that based on what they're constantly trying to do or interact with, In hindsight, I talked too fast. I fumbled words, but I pronounced dinosaur names just fine. I love that. School's rough, man, especially once you hit a certain age. I was reading about invisible guest theory. It's basically, or I don't know if it's technically a theory, but it's like the idea that when you go to a group, when you put yourself into a group setting, most likely everybody in that group setting is insecure about themselves to a certain degree. They are overthinking how they are presenting themselves to the group and how people are perceiving them, et cetera, et cetera. And everybody is so preoccupied with that they actually aren't paying attention to each other. Right? So you worrying about everybody else perceiving you is sort of pointless because everybody is worried about everyone else perceiving them. Too worried about it to actually perceive one another. Right? Does that make sense? And when I was reading it, I was thinking to myself, like, that absolutely also applies to school. Not that people don't observe each other and take note of how one another behaves at school. But like, I do think that especially when you get to the age where you're like starting puberty and things, you become so nervous about how you are presenting yourself. But everybody is, you know? It's like when people go to the gym and think they're being watched by everyone. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, that sort of stuff is interesting. The like bottom line of invisible guest theory is like, if you're going to a party or you're going to a get together, you will actually present yourself better if you try to remember that everyone is kind of preoccupied with themselves, you know? You will be more at ease. You will be more yourself if you remind yourself that your insecurities are invisible to everyone else. Easier said than done, obviously. I will say, if you have a physical disability, people will stare at you in public. Your mileage may vary. That is a very fair thing to add. Can I just not be perceived? Yeah, all the people watchers in chat are like, yeah, I don't pay attention to what anybody's doing. You know, I didn't think about it really when it came to people that I'm like good friends with. But like when we have a family get together, I do think about that a lot. Because I know everybody and I can chat with everybody, but I'm not close with most people at like a big Thorn family gathering, you know. We can have like little anecdotal conversations and that's about it. And I do find myself overthinking about the impression they walk away with, you know. And like, what a waste of my time. What a waste of energy. Oh Oh my God. Did you wubba lubba dub dub in 2026 in my chat? That's crazy. In one of our circles, we have one extroverted friend. When we were in a larger situation, they would take aggro. Just immediately taunting all of the conversations toward themselves. Yeah, I'll never forget one of my brother-in-law, well, not Sam's like related brother, but my sister-in-law's husband. My brother-in-law is insanely extroverted to the point that we were at a birthday. This was years ago. We were at a birthday and I was kind of wallflowering. Like I was chatting with people that I knew, but I didn't know most people there. And he was like, "What are you doing? Why aren't you like talking with people?" And I was like, "I don't know anybody." He was like, "So?" And literally just like pulled me into a conversation with people that he didn't know either. I was like, "Come on, I'll show you. It's really easy." And he just walked up and was like, "Hey gang, what are we talking about?" It was insane to me. I was like, "Do you just do this?" He was like, "Yeah." Because most of the time, people will just kind of roll with it. Crazy. I wouldn't say that I'm like a really intense introvert. I like talking with people a lot, honestly. I enjoy people. I enjoy going out and like spending time with people. But I'm not to the extent where I'm like, I don't know anybody in that group over there, but I'm gonna in a minute, you know? Yeah, I do think it's kind of like a muscle. I do think the more that you just have like casual conversations with people that you don't know, the easier it gets, because the part of your brain that's like, if I talk to this person, it's gonna be weird. If you have just normal, simple conversations with people that don't get weird, then it's easier, I guess, you know, because you realize like, oh, nothing bad happened because I talked to this person. The problem is, what if you do have a conversation that goes weird? Then you have to just push through that shit. Yeah. Sam's an interrupter. And he's asked that we point it out to him when it's happening. And honestly, like, it's gotten a lot better. He realizes when he's doing it now. A weird convo is just the law of large numbers at play. Yeah. I can, you know, I think it's easy to tell when someone's interrupting or talking over you because they don't give a shit about what you have to say versus doing it because the thought is there and it's like a compulsion to get it out, you know? I have never once thought to myself that Sam doesn't care what I'm trying to say. But I do think he suddenly has a thought and it just starts coming out, you know? There's a Basement Yard clip where where one of them gets interrupted and the other one goes, "Oh, sorry, your turn." And I think about that all the time. So I've done that to Sam a couple of times, and it's always funny. It's a good one. But yeah, he's started to notice when I've begun a thought and he's like blurted out a thought, and then he'll be like, "I'm so sorry, I interrupted you." And I think just bringing it up makes it more noticeable that it's happening, you know? I try to say the thought quickly because it won't be there for long usually. Yeah, and I think that that's common. Like, I have a thought, if I don't say it now, I'll lose it, right? And I do think you get a lot of mileage if the compulsion happens and it just blurts out. I do think you get a lot of mileage out of like acknowledging that you did it. Does that make sense? Like, I do really appreciate it when Sam goes, "I'm so sorry I interrupted you. What were you going to say?" Versus just continuing to talk as though it didn't happen, you know? Sometimes this is relevant to the current topic and I need to say it before the conversation moves on to another topic. That does happen to me a lot. I don't talk over people super often, I don't think. Depends on the topic. But yeah, sometimes I wait my turn and then the people who are talking move on and I'm like, wait, I had a thing to say. Wait, I had a thing to say. That happens on Geekenders a lot, actually. If we have a guest on and Jesse and the guest are like talking about something and they just kind of naturally move on to the next thing, I'm always like, do I say backpedaling a little bit? Hold on. If we could go back a second. For $1 million, would you have a forever permanent pocket full of spiders? This question implies that the spiders would just stay in my pocket. Yeah, sure. Yeah. I would never fear anything ever again. Somebody tries to mess with me, boom, spiders. Yeah, for sure. Like, who would mess with me? No one. I think what kind of spider is important. Are they immortal or are they creating a society in my pocket? Are some of them baby spiders is what I'm asking. But it sounds like, based on the question, that there would be a pocket amount of spiders and they would just stay in there. I don't think I control them. No, that didn't seem to be part of the question. This isn't like a Shino from Naruto situation. Although if it was, definitely yes. I'd have to really reconstruct some shit though, because those guys, the bugs live in their bodies. And I don't know if I can do that. But maybe this is like, you know, in the Spider-Man movie where all the Spider-Mans meet each other? And they're like, "Oh my God, Tobey Maguire, you create your own webbing?" And the other two Spider-Mans are like, "What the fuck? That's not fair. We had to build our webs, right? But they're all Spider-Mans. They're all Pete's." Maybe it's like that. Maybe it's like that. Where it's like, I'm on the same tree as Shino from Naruto, but they don't live in my body. I just have a pocket full of spiders at all times. Oh, true. And $1 million. And I have $1 million. Pretty tight. Each day after a long rest, your spiders replenish. This is a good D&D character. I did try to make a D&D character that was based on Shino. It was for a Joe side campaign that didn't wind up happening. Yeah, it was gonna be a swarm ranger thing, but the swarm lived in my bones. It also means everything you wear has to have pockets. True. By magic? Like if I put on a dress that doesn't have pockets, would a pocket manifest so that the spiders would have somewhere to live? That would be sick. $1 million, free pockets on all clothing, and spiders for protection. I'd keep everything that was really valuable in the spider pocket. And that way, if somebody was like, I'm gonna take that lady's wallet, instead they'd get a handful of spiders. See, guys, you're starting to see the magic here. They said a pocket full of spiders, so I don't believe that you could. Someone in chat said if I had cargo pants, would they all be full of spiders? I think just one. I think it's one pocket full of spiders, if I understand the prompt. It would also help control your spending. I guess if you were at the store and you went to grab your wallet, but when you pull your wallet out, a bunch of spiders fall out. You wouldn't want to deal with that like socially that often. Trying to be like, guys, no, it's fine. Don't worry. Don't freak out. They're fine. The equivalent of dropping your spaghetti. Same universe, for sure. Oh God, I wouldn't think so. I don't think it's like a pocket full of tarantulas and the tarantulas shrink to fit in your pocket. I want to believe that whatever spiders are inhabiting the pocket stay the same size, because otherwise it's a huge problem. Can you hear him? Can you hear my turkey? He's like right outside my door gobbling. I'd like to hear him. He's a good boy. I guess he started chasing my father-in-law. But my mother-in-law, because I was like, how weird. Because the geese always hated me. But the turkeys are fine with me. I walk next to the turkeys all the time. In fairness, I do feed the turkeys and the chickens a handful of mealworms every day to ensure that they love me. So I was really surprised to hear that they were like trying to chase anybody, especially my father-in-law. But my mother-in-law thinks it's because he tried to pick them up one time to put them in bed, and he like didn't do it properly, and so they don't like him. Yeah, someone on the comment section of Geekenders was like, honestly, the only issue I see with Dodger eating a bunch of mealworms, which I did. The only problem I see with Dodger eating a bunch of mealworms is that like food grade quality is going to be different for chickens versus humans. So they were like, I mean, it's probably fine if they were literally just dried mealworms, but you know, just something to keep in mind if you know, if you want to like debate the difference between a bag of mealworms for humans versus a bag of mealworms for chickens. They smell good. If you have mealworms around, like the dried ones that you give to animals, if you have mealworms around, does your hand not smell tasty? If you take a big handful of mealworms and you chuck them and you smell your hand, does it not smell tasty? The answer is it does. It does. And that's why I ate mealworms. Because I was like, I'm pretty sure that these are going to taste good. And they did. If they had just a little bit of salt, they would have tasted great. And then I was like, I bet there are mealworm snacks for humans. And they're pretty rare, but they do exist. No, they're not alive. They're dried, weird husks. You can crunch them between your fingers. The live ones are surprisingly juicy. Bree's got a bunch of lizards. Yeah. I'm super down to try all the bug snacks. So many places in the world eat bugs. Why are we not eating bugs? I'm very down to eat them. The ones that are like cooked, dried, crunchy things, yes. Yeah, I think there's a texture thing here for sure. Imagining like a Hakuna Matata bug situation, no. Slimy yet satisfying, absolutely not. But crunchy ones, yeah, for sure. Are you sure you're not Timon? More brittle than Rice Krispies. Someone asked if the texture is similar to Rice Krispies. More brittle. Like they literally... I feel like you'd need a bit more pressure to crush a Rice Krispie. Roasted mealworms are supposedly similar to popcorn. Yeah. Like taste-wise? Yeah. We call dried mealworms potato chips for lizards. They are! Peach loves them too. She tries to steal them from the chickens all the time. I have to literally like call Peach into the house and then toss the mealworms and shut the door because otherwise Peach will fight to get out there and eat all the mealworms. What, you don't want to talk about eating bugs, Dojums? What, is there something wrong with this conversation? We did spiders and then mealworms. We're on a roll today. Maybe we should change it up. True, and we talked about poop the second we started. It's a classic SMD, y'all. Hitting all the topics.
Ba 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 ba.
I might be this thing. My kid loves this thing. And she was asking if she could put like a comfy chair in her new bedroom. And I was like, I don't really use this. It's more like decor, but it's a chair. It would be nice if someone was using it, you know? So I said to her that if I cleaned that really well, would she want it in her room? And she said yes. So it might be leaving. It might be leaving here. Replace it with a giant Snorlax. A big cat tree would be fun. It also helps because Clark wants Peach sleeping in her room again. And so we were talking about like, oh, should we get like a dog bed to put in there? But Peach loves sleeping on this thing. So I said, if we put that in there, Peach can just sleep on that. I'm going to take a crack at this name. JTS Hapland or JT Shapland. I'm not sure which one it is, but thank you so much. Welcome to the Cat Gang. I appreciate it. Enjoy your sub. Fill the space with rocks. Also fun. Peach, yeah, Peach was sleeping in her bedroom with her for a while. And it was helping a couple of things. Number one, Peach was way less restless at night. She just gets up a lot. She gets up, she'll like bark at the door in the middle of the night and stuff. And so when she was sleeping in Clark's room, it was much more like, okay, we're in the bedroom and we're sleeping now, right? And she would just be chill all night. When we had the flea thing, we stopped doing that because I was like, okay, no animals upstairs, right? Or I'm like scorched earth, like just doing everything upstairs. I don't want an animal up there at all. Treating the animals separate, treating the carpets and the beds separate, and just, you know, etc. So she stopped sleeping in Clark's room. But now that the room is swapped over and there are no more fleas. She was like, I would love for Peach to sleep in my bedroom again. And we were like, that would probably be helpful for Peach as well. But yeah. Just making sure that she can get comfy. Because Clark's going to be in a loft bed now. So Peach can't sleep on the bed with her. How are the other plagues? No locusts. No locusts. No. This house delights in giving Dodger chores. Yeah. There's always something. Always something. Yeah, we didn't get a high sleeper for her because I don't think she would sleep well in it. So we got what's called a mid sleeper. It's basically like if an adult is standing next to it, like your kind of like shoulder height is where the mattress is. So she won't be super high up off the ground, but I'm gonna buy Pathologic. How much is it? It's $23. I'm so curious about it. So curious. I'm so curious. Okay, I'm gonna close this. It's only a business expense if I play it on stream. I've been curious too, but I want to play through the first two. Oh my god. Godspeed. I'm not doing that. I've watched plenty of videos about those two games to know that I would rather die. But this one is much more detective game, it looks like. And less survival elements, so. I'm curious! I'm so curious. I love games where all of the reviews are like, I loved this game. I have no idea what the fuck was going on and the ending was terrible. Like, I love that shit. That's so funny. We're talking about the new Pathologic game. Is it as harsh as the first two? Who knows? Who knows? It just came out on the 9th. So 9 days ago. I was on my way to family dinner listening to Geekenders. You were talking about tasting mealworms, and then when I had dinner, I saw a small insect on my plate, and I thought of you. But did you eat it? What was the video-based detective game you and Jesse played? Contradiction? Is that what you're thinking of? Nah, Jesse and I didn't play Her Story together. Contradiction, probably. Had a bald guy and you could switch bodies? Oh, not Dr. Decker. I think I know what you're talking about. Fuck, what is the name of that game? Shape-shifting detective. Wow, I haven't thought about that game in forever. Oop. Still waiting on an FMV you and Jesse will make eventually. Man, game dev is rough. It's hard. Shout out to game devs. It's so much work and time and energy. Visual novels are hard because a lot of them are really long. I still really enjoy visual novels. I just need them to be more contained, you know? Did you ever do Rose of Winter? No. Yeah. Yes. Like the one I did with Summer. That was really short, honestly. Took us like, what, 2 streams? Yeah, Date with Death. That's what it was called. But yeah, I love doing voices. I love doing shit like that. It's just, if it's too long, it becomes impossible for people to follow unless they're literally here the whole time, you know? And I start to struggle with doing voices for too many hours. So if it's contained, if it's like, yeah, this is like a 4 or 5 hour visual novel, great. Yeah, one of the sub goals was that Sam and I would play any co-op game that our communities chose, and the game that got voted on the most. Where did my cuff go? God, I found it. The game that got voted on the most was Split Fiction, so still need to do that. Rose of Winter is 1 to 4 hours, 4 if you're a completionist. Dang! Very easy contained. No, I promised Clark that I wouldn't get a new piercing until she was able to get a piercing at the start of summer. So, it's just a cuff. I'd like something there, though. My piercer moved away. No! Do piercings hurt when you get them? Yeah, but it's the moment that it's being pierced, that your skin is being pierced is the worst, and it's for like a split second. Honestly, I think the hardest part of piercings is like taking care of them afterward while they're healing. Because the instant that you're getting the piercing, it hurts, but it's very brief, and it doesn't continue to hurt that way. But the healing process can be just like dully painful for a while, depending on where you get the piercing done. Thanks for the yaps. I gotta go. Have a good day. This one? It didn't hurt any more than the other ones, but it took, I want to say almost a year to be like fully healed. The healing process can just be so long. Visit London again, we'll get more holes in our bodies. Yeah, a lady that I know got the day piercing for her migraines, and she was like, honestly, I don't know if it's helped, if it's like, if it's done much for me. So. Oh my gosh, hold on. Hold on, Ninen. Hi, Dex Bonus. I've been wanting to do this for a while. So far, I've tier 3 subbed all of the streamers and creators that have meant the most to me in my life. You, Tiri, Krendor, Octo, and others have helped me through so much. I'm coming for your husband next. Not like that. Watched you from 2011, from early gaming news days. Watched you grow into an incredible, hardworking content creator. Thank you so much. Inspired me to be a content creator and streamer, and maybe VTuber this year. Oh, thank you so much. What a sweet message. Cheers. Boop. Thank you. Daith, it's a D-A-I-T-H. It's a type of piercing on your ear that some people I have not looked into the research for this, so I would encourage you to. But it's been posited, I don't think proven, it's been posited that a daith piercing will like put pressure in just the right spot to potentially help with migraines. But I would say go look into that. No, it's sweet. It was a very sweet message. Thank you. My daith did not help. I still get them. Yeah. Same with Monica. She said the same thing. So. Popping in to say hello from Scotland. Hello! Migraines are interesting because they are debilitating enough that people who get them multiple times throughout the year, or even worse, maybe like a few times a month, are desperate for ways to ease them or keep them from happening or counteract them, you know? And there are so many different things that people have said help, and so many different treatments. And I guess that's partly because not all migraines are caused by the same thing. Like, is it tension? Is it hormonal? Is it, you know, like, when Sam gets them, they last like 3 or 4 days. Right. Yeah. They're a symptom of something. And so part of the treatment process is figuring out, like, what is this a symptom of? And how do we treat that thing, you know? Maybe I just don't understand science. Yeah. I don't really get migraines, I don't think. I'm not convinced that I've ever had like a real migraine. I get headaches that suck, that make me want to just nap. But I've never had something that like made it hard for me to function. I get ocular migraines sometimes, but that's visual. That's like my eyes get weird. Yeah, I need to get new glasses. So does Clark. We're just gonna go in together. get both of our eyes checked at the same time. Because I was saying, I think my eyes have gotten worse in the last year. Because my glasses broke, but like even before that, it didn't feel like they were as effective anymore. And Sam read somewhere, again, I did not follow up on this or look into the research to see if this is real. But Sam read something about how if you have astigmatism and you're not wearing your glasses, that it'll get worse. But if you wear glasses, then it like keeps them from getting worse. So he keeps being like, you're just letting your eyes get worse. And I'm like, I don't know if that's true. But maybe it is. I have no idea. Like, you gotta wear your glasses. You're actively making them worse. But again, no idea. I believe it since you're probably straining your eyes. Oh, to like see certain things? Yeah. I was explaining, we were talking about how when you're nearsighted, it's like, it's really easy to convince yourself that your eyes actually aren't bad. Because everything that's around me, I can see just fine. If I look off into the distance, yeah, all of that shit's fuzzy, but like, that's irrelevant to me. That's far away. That has nothing to do with me. That's not my business. I am curious if the face tracker will have trouble with me when I've got my glasses on. I haven't tested that, but yeah. You remember when that was the thing on social media for a hot minute, wasn't it? Where somebody was like, if you have astigmatism, lights at night probably look like this. And everybody with astigmatism was like, they don't look like that to other people. Yeah. So astigmatism is that the shape of your eye is warped, right? So there's like a standard eye shape. And then if your eye is even slightly different from the shape that eyes are meant to be, then you have astigmatism and it warps stuff. So one of the things that happens is at night when it's dark and there's like bits of light in places, they'll have like weird like halos around them or like warping to how you're perceiving the light. And if you've had astigmatism your whole life, if your eyes have always been a weird shape, then that's just how lights look at night, right? So it was one of those like realizing that other people around you perceive lights in the dark differently than you do. During Christmas, we learned half of Alex's family has aphantasia. Those conversations are always interesting. Snail tracks? What the heck is a snail track? When talking about eyeballs. What does that mean? Floaties? I mean, I've had a floaty in my eye before, or like in my vision, but it's rare, very rare. Yeah, Jesse and I have talked about that a lot, about the like inner voice thing. I don't know. Everybody's brains just work so different. It's fun. It does weird me out though to think that like I can be sitting next to somebody and I'm just empty, nothing going on in there, and the person next to me inside of their brain is like dum-de-dum-de-dum. Like, I'm out here sitting on the bench. Oh, look, there's a guy. Oh man, what should I say? Should I say something? I can't imagine that. Because it's silent up here. The anecdote that I love to say is that when I first watched the movie What Women Want, I didn't like it because I thought it was so stupid, the idea of like reading someone's mind and hearing sentences. I was like, but people don't think that way. People don't say stuff in their brains. So I didn't like the movie. And it wasn't until years later that I found out that people do say stuff in their brains. So yeah, it's just one of those funny things where like, unless you're talking about it with somebody, you don't know how different people's heads work, you know? It's hard to explain. I'm not thinking in words. I'm thinking in like abstract. I don't have a conversation with myself. It's like the stuff that I'm thinking about is like abstract concepts. Unless I'm reading, that's fair. When I'm reading, I'm reading. And I know my dad has full conversations with himself because he doesn't bother keeping it inside. He just says it out loud. He just says it all out loud. To the point that my mom consistently throughout the day has to be like, "Are you talking to me?" He's just so comfy with it, just saying stuff. Nine and Bear, thank you so much for the gifted subs. Welcome to the Cat Gang, guys. Dad might be like me. He says the one he wants to focus on out loud so that he can ignore the less productive thoughts. Yeah, maybe. I would say for me, it's kind of the opposite. I think sometimes the things that I'm anxious about, I have posited that potentially I would feel less anxious about things if I could, if I found it easier to be more structured mentally. It's why I benefit a lot from talking about problems out loud with other people, because before saying it out loud, nothing is solidified. It's all conceptual, right? I'm not speaking to myself about things. I don't know. Who knows? We're all just doing our best, huh? Sunday morning Dooger is basically therapy. I don't know, is eating mealworms therapy? Positing what it would be like to have a magic pocket full of spiders, I think is therapy for sure. I still want it. It's the Pokemon Center song. It's from the Coffee Date Pokemon album. All right, we're coming up on the top of the hour. I think we can start wrapping up. We do have Sunforge tonight. If you'd like to watch that, it's a D&D show on Joe's channel. And tomorrow is Monday, so we'll be hopping back into Deltarune. Got Hellions tomorrow as well, which is on twitch.tv/doodle. That's a Pathfinder game that I'm in. But yeah, I think Monday, Tuesday is going to be finishing up Deltarune. And then we'll probably hop back into Hades. I'm scared that if we don't hop back into Hades that I'll never finish it. I'm scared. I'm scared that if I leave it, we won't finish it. So, but we've also got Pathologic now. And I'm so curious what the fuck's going on with that game. Anyways, let's read off our activity feed and I'll send you somewhere else. When I went to work, my kid asked if we could do something, quote, more fun later. And I was like, depends on what that means. So wish me luck with that. Olivier, thank you so much for the gifted sub to Free. Nerglia for the 31 months. Aomaz the Cat Gangster for the 116. Ectrix for the 99. Kiera for the 89. Senethil for the 22. Nat Patat for the 113. Marlus for the 74. Zark for the 53. Dr. Cabrant for the 45. Duonico for the 5 years. Happy anniversary. Thank you so much. Exaven for the 111. Banished for the 22. JTS Hapland. Welcome to the Cat Gang. Again, thank you so much for subscribing. Raging Pixel for the 111. Nine and Bear for the 6. Assassin Duck for the 66. And Nine and Bear for the gifted subs as well. Thank you again. Wild Turkey for the 88. Firestorm for the 69. And Chris for the 53. Thank you guys so much. Yeah, let's see who's streaming right now. Let's see who's streaming right now. We can go say hi to Benji. Yeah, Benji's gonna be playing with the boys later, so if you stick around with him. Yeah, the boys, including my sweet love Sam, they do Toxic Sunday together before Sunforged, so normally a nightmare. It's very fun. Go hang, spread love and joy. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me this Sunday. I will see you guys tomorrow. Okay, take care of yourselves, everybody. Bye bye.